welcome to Big Sister. I hope you guys have been enjoying my content. I will encourage you all to take a look at the channel, see what I have here. Not only the videos that I upload, but also the ones that I've already uploaded. So you can take a look around, you can see the things that I was doing when I first started. You even get to see what I look like. Different stages of what I look like. My hair is different now, but I am still the same person. And as I said, I will eventually get back on and let y'all see me. But, I've actually gotten used to doing it this way. I know it's just so easy. It's simple. I can just pop on, do the video, add a couple things to it, and get it out there versus when I'm setting up and I have the camera and all of that. I'm also just in between a lot of different projects right now. So and I'm trying not to let too many days or so slack off between uploading. So this is just easier, but you guys will definitely see me again. All right. So yesterday I spoke about how siblings know the dark side of the golden child, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about the golden child. And those of you who may be from different cultures and backgrounds, I'm going to explain it, even though you're going to recognize it, because across the board worldwide, I think everybody can identify who the golden child is in families. There are families that manage not to have a golden child, and I think that's very good. And that is going to be because when parents are diligent in treating their children the same as much as possible. We know sometimes with each child, based on how they are personality wise, you may have to do things a little different in how you engage with them. But in terms of how you treat them, as far as just your love and the attention and the effort that you're making for your children and the praises as well as correction that you're given, it is balanced. And let's say if one sibling gets corrected more than the other, it's not simply based on the parent being frustrated or blowing that child off. But, if one child is getting into trouble more than the other, then yes, they're going to end up being disciplined more. But what's important is that the parents do not begin to elevate any of the other children over that child, even if the child is going through a phase of being problematic, or even if they turn out to stay that way. You should avoid having the golden child syndrome, because this happens with every, and this can happen in any household, not every household, but any household. Where does a golden child come from? There's a lot of reasons why a child is named the golden child. The reason why this often happens, there's a couple of things. One, as I've said in another video, is maybe this is what we'll call the miracle child. Mom was told she could never have children, or she had previous losses before, and she's finally able to have this child. The fact that she's had other children, yes, that's great, but for some reason when she wanted to conceive again for the second or the third time, there are a lot of difficulties and losses, and she finally have the child. And there tends to be a lot of protectiveness in the way that child is treated. The parents may not even be aware of it, but this happens. The other thing could be sickness, disease, illness. The child was going to die, the child pulled through, and the parents become very protective of that child. It's a natural thing. It is a very natural thing. We're not talking about a child who is, sometimes parents will have a child who has an illness and they're not expected to have a lifespan. And in these cases, both the children and the parents are affected, and they tend to shower and give this child a lot of love and attention because they do know that this child is very ill. And in this case, it's not the golden child. They're not looking at the child as the golden child, because the golden child is normally expected to do all these things. But it's the child is sickly. And so when someone is sickly and they're expected to pass sooner than a child would, then the engagement with that child is going to be different. But in cases where the child just was ill, it wasn't anything terminal or whatever, and then they pulled through. There were complications in their birth, the child was in the ICU, and then they make it. Sometimes a sibling, sometimes that child becomes the golden child to the parents. Now, whatever the scenario is, the parent or parents are the ones who make it known to the other children without officially announcing it that this is the golden child. And the way that's going to happen is they're going to treat them very differently. They're going to be different. What goes for them does not go for everybody. What goes for everybody else, the rules for all the other siblings does not go for this golden child. What everybody else gets in, all the other siblings get in trouble for, the golden child will not get in trouble for that. And there's going to just be this difference. Sometimes there are comparisons made. Sometimes the parents do it directly in front of the siblings, or they may hear their parents talking to one another or talking to a friend on the phone about the golden child or the other child. And children are always listening. They're always absorbing. Parents need to be very careful that you're not thinking your children are some garden gnomes sitting around. They are paying attention. We're always listening. It's just a human thing. We're always taking in sounds, vibrations from the molecules in the air. Okay, when I say vibration, I'm not talking any new age stuff. I'm just talking about that's how sound works. There's vibration that's shaking those molecules and it comes around you, and this is how you hear. This is how you hear the trees, the wind, all of that. So we're always listening, we're always taking in information, whether or not we're paying specific attention or not. So with the siblings and the golden child, what's going to happen? They're going to recognize who's the golden child, and the golden child is going to recognize, oh, I'm special, based on how the parents begin to treat them. They're going to notice the differences in how they are spoken to versus how everybody else is spoken to, the things that they can get away with versus that what their siblings are not getting away with. Well, they're the younger brother or sister, and yet they are being given a lot more consideration than their older siblings. How is this happening? They actually have the last word. They can go in and change your mother's mind when everyone else has to do chores and things of that nature. The golden child figures they can go and sit with mom or dad and sit on their lap or do certain things, and they don't have to do what everybody else is doing. So the sibling comes in and says, Mom, Dad, she still didn't finish her room, or he didn't do this. What is the parent normally going to do? Tell that sibling, well, you go do it. It's not that hard. But you said we're supposed, just go do it. I don't care. Do what I say. So these things over time begin to accumulate, and the children are realizing that, okay, they begin to assume their roles. They know they are secondary to this golden child who walks on water in the family. Now, a lot of times that role is not something that they necessarily want. But when they're young, hey, it's convenient to them, so they like it. They'll walk around and they have that smirk on their face. They know they can do things, break your toys, touch your things, hit you, whatever they're doing, they're going to run and they're going to call mama or tell dad, and they're automatically going to get a win. Even if they are corrected, even if they do something wrong and you come in and you show your parents that they broke my collector's item, they're going to talk to the golden child in this way where it is just not going to really be taken too seriously. And they'll actually make that sibling feel, well, why did you have it set out where they can get to it? Why did you put it where he could touch it or she could touch it? If it was that precious, you would have put it up better. So they begin to gaslight that sibling. And there's just this division. The golden child is usually someone that's going to get a lot of praise, lauding. They're going to get away with a lot of things. The golden child could be anyone. It's not always the youngest. It could be the oldest. It may turn out the oldest. They consider them to be the better looking one. They're more athletic. They are more academically successful. They fit the blueprint of what the parent want to be proud of. And they can make comparisons between their children. Why aren't you smart like your sister? Or why aren't you smart like your older brother? Why don't you look like him? Why don't you like what happened to you? I must have had a cold the day when I had you, because you don't look anything like the rest of us. That stuff is devastating for a child to hear. Parents have to be so careful the things that's coming out your mouth to your child. You have to be we have to be so careful the things that we're saying, because it sticks with the children. And I think I just might do a video about that. But for now, let's talk about that. So there's comparison. And a lot of times what you're going to find out, the golden child is often the ideal blueprint of what the parent would have wanted to be. They either replicate their parent and are better, or something their parents could not afford to be. Being the golden child, they're often pushed into sports that they may not necessarily want to do. They're normally picking up academics or making career decisions that they really don't want to make all the time, which is the flip side of being the golden child. The parents are simply living out their dreams through their children. So I want you to be a doctor, a lawyer, uh, one of those things, because the parents may not have been successful, or this is what they've always done within the family, and they're not going to listen to that child. They're not listening to the golden child. It doesn't matter. It's about what we want. All right. And I think that should be another video separate from itself, so that we can get a little bit more. But a lot of times it's bragging rights for the parents. But if we look at it again, sibling to sibling, that child is identified as being better. That child is going to have more choices than the other siblings. And what is going to happen is it's going to create a division. It's going to create resentment, because while one child is being lauded and lionized and we love you, there are other areas in which there's going to be neglect, because they're always looking at the golden child. They're going to be comparing their other children, talking down to them, making comparisons. There's someone that's going to be the scapegoat, always taking the blame for everything that the golden child is doing. No one's really paying too much attention. There are assumptions that's being made, whether it could be the older child. Again, that is not, it could be the youngest that's the golden child, the oldest. It could be the second born child. It really just depends on, to me, in my opinion, it could be the features of the child, how the child looks. The child comes out looking a certain way, having unique features. They can be the golden child, and depending on the family, they could be considered the black sheep because they look different. So it's one of those things. It just depends on the family. It depends on what's important to them, who will be the golden child. But nonetheless, it is always going to be a, a something that's decided on by the parents and their actions. The parents are never waking up and saying, I'm going to pick a golden child today, but it is their behavior and how they treat their children, because children pay attention. We're not talking about petty things. We're just talking about the effort that you're making to buy clothes for one child versus the other. Clothing, food, shelter, it should be equal across the board, but often it's not. We know sometimes if you have a daughter, they need a little more. Okay, they need more. You have to buy more things for them because they're all these, they need a top, bottom, a shoe, and then they need the hair things. Okay, but you have to think on that with your sons when you have them. When you go out, don't always come home with just some stuff just for one child. If you think to pick up something for your children, pick up something else for your other children as well. even if it's just something very simple. Keep in mind and pay attention to the things that your child likes. I try a lot of something that's happening. If I go out there and I pick up something for my sons, I'm going to pick up something for my daughter. It's not that I always think to get something for him or her or them, but it's just if I go out and I may see a top and I'm like, oh, he look nice in this, or something I know that he like and I see it, I pick it up. But I dare not go home with just a bag for him. I go around and I look at something that I know she may like. It may not be a top. It doesn't have to be the exact same thing. It could be something different. Like I know she may like there's certain little type of journals that she likes. So I pick up a journal. You have to think. You don't want to just go and pick up something silly for the other child, but and it doesn't have to be expensive, but you have to be careful. That's what you have to do. If you have 3 children, don't go out there and just get something for that one child. And when you realize you have to pick up things for 3, then that's what you do. My daughter loves to get these little things from Starbucks, those little those drinks, fruity drinks. I think she liked the dragon fruit thing. Okay, if I pick that up, I like stuff from Starbucks too, but my son does not like Starbucks, so I have to make that extra effort to go get what he likes as well, get a slushie or something like that, pick up something I know he likes from another store. Yes, it's a pain in the butt to do it, but I better do it. The children are not petty, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times it's those little things that you're not thinking about. The question is, it's just very simple. If you're thinking about getting a drink for your son, you should automatically think, let me get something for my daughter. If you're thinking to pick up something for your daughter, a top, you automatically think of your other children and what they will like. That's it. You can't, well, all I had was 15 cents. Then don't buy nothing. Don't do it. Don't get it. You understand? It, I know every situation is different, but what I'm saying in cases with golden child, what is happening is the parent is often just thinking of that child, and then the child just is constantly getting and getting and getting, and then the other children have to understand that, well, I didn't have any money, or well, you're too old for this anyway, or why does this matter? And they're constantly being delegated to the back, and this sends a message, and the child begins to realize, oh, they don't even know what to call it yet. They don't even know they're the golden child. They just know I'm treated better. They know I can get away with things. And what's going to happen is it's going to create a division for the future, because that child is already being treated like they can do no wrong. They're not being held accountable. They're not being responsible for anything. There's someone else is always going to carry the weights. The other sibling is going to be blamed for things. They're expected to be the cleanup for all spills made by the golden child. And there is going to be resentment that's built up. And then the golden child begins to feel that they're better than their siblings. They can actually go and sit there when the parents are scolding the other children, and sit with the parents and smirk or have this look or whatever they do. And that child is going to be, the sibling will be powerless. There'll just be moments where the sibling will get mad and they'll lash out. They'll probably turn around and give the golden child a good pounding once they get angry enough, whether the parent is there or not. But what is going to ultimately happen when they do that, whether they do it with the parents or home or not, they are going to be punished for it. And that child, the other child, begins to feel like I'm different. With a parent saying that and making comparisons, oh, you're always giving trouble, you're always giving problems, you're always doing this, you're always doing that. It's possible that that child is doing things that they shouldn't be doing, but you have to get to the bottom of it. Yes, as parents, we do have to sit there and talk to the child and let them know, look, you're messing up. We have to figure out what's going on with you. Yes, you may have to take actions to discipline the child. They may be punished for it. There's going to be consequences for it. You shouldn't be afraid to do that and say discipline is necessary. Because if you don't discipline your child, the world's going to do it for you. The government's going to do it for you. If your child get out there and misbehave, the police are going to do it, and they're going to do it in a way it's going to be horrible. Okay, because they have no love for your child. So these are not the things that I'm really addressing. Parents are going to have to be real and talk to the parents, but some talk to their children about their behavior. But a lot of times they label the child. A lot of times they are just verbally just dragging that child, and they don't care about helping the child. They are just coming in to declare and to say these hurtful things to them and to tell them, you are a problem. And why can't you be like this golden child? And they're not realizing sometimes a part of the problem is the way you are treating them, the way they're being treated. They have no say. They're always being compared. They can't be free in the house to do the things they need to do because here comes the golden child. Everything is about them. Everybody's praising them, talking about them. And parents are so busy praising the golden child that they're not seeing the accomplishments of their own child, because what they're doing is they're comparing the child against the other one, and they're unable to appreciate and see the the talents and the gifts and the accomplishments of the child. Why? They're not interested in that. They want to know, can you do stuff like this, that my golden child? Why aren't you reacting like her? Why aren't you reacting like him? Why aren't you doing like, why do you have this interest? Why do you listen to this weird music? Why do you look so weird? Why are you this? Why are you that? And they don't realize that sometimes, as I have a video that's called A Diamond in the Rough. Go ahead and look at that, guys. I already have that up there. You look at the diamond in the roughs. You're looking right now at your child in their cocoon phase, or your child they're in their not so great phase. But in the middle of that, all that roughness is something beautiful. But parents who have the golden child, they're too busy tossing you and saying you're nothing but a rock. You're nothing but a nobody. All you do is give trouble. You're just like this. You're just like that. Why can't you be like your sister? Why can't you be like your brother? Why can't you be like the golden child? And that is going to cause hurt, pain, and that child is going to shut down. They're not really going to know how to express themselves because a lot of times the parents are not listening. They'll end up lashing out. They'll end up becoming secluded. And then again, it's going to create a division between the brothers and the sisters, between the golden child and the other siblings, because they're going to not want to have anything to do with them. And a lot of times, the golden child is going to believe that they're better than you anyway. And a lot of times, what will happen is that golden child will end up mistreating, abusing their parents anyway. They become entitled. They've been treated and elevated to such a point that they begin to think that they're even higher than the parents. And they will treat other people that way in society. They will be this way on their job, in relationships. And they'll find themselves at odds with a lot of people in society because they've never had to consider themselves. They're going to grow up think they're better than you. They're going to think they're better than their siblings. Their children are better than the siblings' children. And you see it's going to continue from generation to generation. Now the golden child have their golden children who's going to be raised and treated differently by the parents. These grandchildren are better than these grandchildren. And then instead of the families coming together and being a unit and nieces and nephews knowing one another, they're divided. So be very careful. Now, please comment below and let me know anything that you think I may have missed, any points or any experiences that you may have, whether you're the golden child or there was one in your family. And again, as I said, a child does not go out looking to be the golden child. It's just the way the family treats them. And again, I'm going to do a video where I do talk about the pressures of the golden child, what's often placed on that child, things that they don't even want, burdens they don't want, but the parents make them do it. All right, guys. Hope you enjoy my video. Don't forget to like, share, and to subscribe, guys. If you give my videos a like, this is going to get more views. All right. Bye.